the historic
Yes, and
Broadway
we're going
building.
there in 2 weeks.
And we
You're
are going to have a dedication today. I want to read you the recent press release, because I thought it was so well done. One Boulder Plaza, running by downtown Boulder. So it goes like this. Back in the early 1900s, First National Bank sat prominently on the corner of Broadway and Pearl Street, in the heart of Boulder. At that time, the majestic tower building was adorned with a clock to help people, all of those people passing by, and keep them on time. Well before 1900, street clocks became popular throughout the U.S. as prominent businesses such as banks wanting to increase their visibility and presence in downtowns. These clocks were also a very important service when the average citizen could not afford a timepiece. So now, back in more recent times, 1200 Pearl Street is the location of the First National Bank. This distinctive corner clock, which you can see in this photo, was a prominent feature of the building when it opened in 1918. And the clock finally came down sometime in the 30s, Tom?
30s or 40s.
30s or 40s, we aren't quite sure. We have chosen to live here, just as many generations before us have done. Some choose to conduct their businesses here and contribute their value in products and services. And as humans, we have a need to be a part of the community, just as we do. So please, if you do not know any of the people standing next to you, just say hello. And so I have a question. Why is it important that we as owners do the best that we can to make our buildings the most pleasant and most pleasing to the human eye? Why do we do that? Because these buildings form our landscape. It's what we look at every day when we walk around them. We spend our lives walking by all of these buildings and driving by them. It's somewhat like a walk in nature that is calming and a spiritual experience. You and your families will be looking at these buildings and this clock for future generations. This is your landscape. Pearl Street Mall is nationally recognized and will now have a new gym, a unique piece of jewelry. For the Broadway building retailers and office users, instead of giving directions to their customers and clients, saying that we're on Broadway and Pearl Street on the southeast corner, they can now say, we're at Broadway and Pearl Street, and we're in the building where the clock is. And it'll be easy to find. What does a clock symbolize? A clock represents time, and life is limited by the amount of time we get on this earth. As time passes, our lives progress. With each tick of the clock, time goes by. With each beat of your heart, life goes by. This clock was replicated from several historic photos.
And it was fabricated by the Electric Time Incorporated near Boston, Massachusetts. And they have been making these iconic street clocks since the 1920s. They love doing this, and you can tell. All four sides of this clock are synchronized with the Bureau of Standards atomic clock, a community clock. Our timing for this dedication is appropriate as we emerge from this pandemic, just as our past generations were still immersed in the 1918 pandemic. So it just couldn't be better. I would like to thank some of the people that were participants in this dedication and in this in making this happen. One of them was my main business partner, Art Eklund, who took his time but finally got it approved. It's a huge monetary contribution to make this work. I'd also like to thank my business partner, Tom Thorpe, standing here, and who was the inspiration and the determination to see this happen. And Chad Hillman, who worked with Tom to coordinate all of the vendors and the details. The details on this were major. Just getting a new secure attachment to the building was a major feat. And I would like to thank Downtown Boulder for putting all of this together, this presentation. This is great. And Chip and Anna and Terry, and everybody, thank you. So I would like to have Sam Weaver, downtown, is the mayor of Boulder. I'd like to have him, thank you Sam for coming, and I'd like to introduce you, and he has a few words to say.